Hello everyone, it is Barb Techel. It is September 22nd, the first day of fall. Yay! Happy autumn equinox or fall equinox, autumn equinox. I get so excited this time of year. It's my favorite time of the year, fall. I love the cozy nights as it gets cooler, and I know a lot of people miss the light, but I love as it gets darker a little sooner. Though honestly, by December, I'm ready for that to be done. Anyways, I love fall. Happy fall equinox. I know in the southern hemisphere, obviously, you are in spring equinox. So I'm doing a little something extra today for all of you because it is the autumn equinox, and you can apply this to the spring as well. I'm going to do an extra little reading besides just the animal of the week. I pulled two other cards just for the autumn equinox, so I hope you will enjoy that as well. Just wanted to do a little something extra special in celebration. So, for the week of September 22nd, the animal wisdom guidance for the week comes from rabbit and nurture. Doesn't look very clear for some reason. Why is that not looking clear? Can you see that? There we go. Rabbit and nurture. So it was really interesting. Monday mornings, as I'm getting ready for the day, thoughts are going through my mind, and I thought, well, I wonder what the animal wisdom will be for the week. And I was thinking about different things, and part of my thought process was, just really continuing to encourage people, encouraging you to take time to nurture yourself. So, yep, picked up on my energy, I believe, and we have rabbit and nurture. So as I was thinking about that, I got out the guidebook because, of course, this is from my deck, Animal Reflections Healing Oracle. And when I wrote the messages for the guidebook, I did have personal relationships with a lot of the animals in the guidebook that I have special connections with. That or I just wrote the message with that particular animal. And for rabbit, that is the case. And as I looked at the first two paragraphs, I thought, wow, that is really fitting for right now, and the times that we are in, the polarized times that we're in, the very chaotic world that we're in. I thought, wow, this is so perfect. So I wanted to share this. So in a world spinning with commotion, rabbit sits still as a statue, refusing to take part in the frenetic energy. Rabbit remains alert while exuding stability and carefully considers when the right time is to make its next move. Receiving this card means we, all of us, are invited to stop and take stock of the cycles of life. At times, it's rich and fertile with creativity, growth, and expansion. Other times, it's important to retreat into a protective shell. Much like rabbit scratches a hollow in the earth and burrows into the ground so as to be less visible. So I just felt this was such an important message right now, really looking at, as Rabbit says in here, the cycles of life. At times it's, fertile, rich with creativity, growth, and expansion, which I think is rich in expansion, even if we are not partaking out in the world, but maybe we are burrowed in our own little nest and just being, with all the different emotions, all the different things that are coming up for us. There's expansion in that too. But I like it that it's important at times to retreat into a protective shell. And for myself personally, because there is so much divisiveness out there right now, especially on social media, I've really limited my time because I'm protecting my energy. If I'm going to be my best self and I'm going to continue to expand and be who I am, that's what I have to do. I have to protect my energy right now, and that's what I'm doing. But perhaps, maybe it's the same for you. Maybe this is a time for expansion and growth, and you're feeling called to share your voice. That is great too. But no matter what, each way that we do this is really about nurturing who we really are, nurturing that authenticity, nurturing what feels right for us, and really feeling into that. So that is the message for Rabbit for the week. And so for the autumn equinox, and you can apply this for spring if you wish, though I really feel this really was speaking to autumn because that's what was on my mind as I pulled the cards. I first pulled a card from the deck Song of the Grandmothers. It's one of my favorite decks, and I love to use this in my readings that I do for others to bring in some wisdom from the ancestors. So the card that I pulled is Grandmother Swan and the Message of Silence. That really, I just felt these cards actually really go very well with Rabbit and Nurture as well. And the line that really stood out on me is float in peace, observe. And again, I just really feel like this is a time for us to really find peace within ourselves first and foremost. But just to observe, again, like I said with Rabbit and Nurture, observe how your energy feels. Say you are on social media and something disturbs you. Maybe 5 minutes. I mean, this just happened to me the other day. I was going along with my day just perfectly fine. Went onto social media and I saw something that upset me. And then I had to really make this conscious effort to not get sucked into that. So I just really feel like Grandmother Swan is helping us as we move into the fall season to really observe more moments of silence in our lives, just to center ourselves and come back to a more peaceful place. And what came to me also, I heard in my head, was to be of the world, but not in it. And then the animal, that card that I pulled to go along with the autumn equinox message, is giraffe and the message of intuition. And really to step back, this symbol on here of like a mandala, though it can look kind of dizzying, and I just feel like giraffe is inviting us to step back. They've got their long necks and they can see, they can oversee everything, and just inviting us to this higher perspective. And when we go to this place of higher perspective, also bringing into our intuition self into that as well. And then when I looked at the guidebook for Song of the Grandmothers, what really stood out to me also was not every battle is ours to fight. There are certain battles, of course, we're going to feel very passionate about, and then that's the time to do that. But sometimes it's not, and we must retreat and be in peace and in silence. And it also said connecting with peace always, no matter what, and becoming a calm, centered beacon of energy. Because in reality, we are all responsible for our own peace, aren't we? We absolutely are. We are responsible for our own peace. So I really feel like those three cards really play into, as we move into the fall equinox, which we start this week today, and begin to nurture that which needs nurturing within ourselves, whatever that looks like for you. And then specifically for the fall season, we have Grandmother Swan and Silence, float in peace and observe. If we can stay in that observer mode, and I really learned this when I really took a deep dive into understanding how oracle cards work and using them in my own personal mastery, seeing patterns that were playing out in my life. When we can become this compassion, gentle observer of ourselves, it's more often than not coming from a place within ourselves that was wounded, and we're protecting ourselves. We're just protecting ourselves from our heart being hurt again. So, just floating in peace, being that observer, not being too hard on yourself, being gentle with yourself, and then just inviting yourself to tap into your own intuition and to see things from a higher perspective. So many of the spiritual teachers that I admire and really resonate with their messages is, even though when things are really, really hard, there is a higher perspective. There always is. We can't always see it in the moment, But there is a higher perspective that is playing out that we just aren't privy to know at the moment. So again, it's so important to stay in touch with what feels right for us, to find peace within ourselves, to stay out of the energy that, pulls us in a negative way, and really to caretake ourselves. And I know I've said this before, and I will say it. I will say it till the end of my life here on earth is it begins here. It begins in our own inner selves. It begins in our own hearts in order to bring a positive vibration, a more peaceful vibration to the earth. And the more of us that can do that, the more of us that can do our inner work and nurture ourselves, see the higher perspective, tap into our own intuition, and be the observer of our own lives, I think the better off we're going to be. The better off we're going to be. So, really a big invitation as we move into the fall equinox, which is the perfect time to go inward. The busy times of summer have passed and are over with, and now it's a time to just be in reflection and contemplation. My favorite place to be. So, I hope everybody has a great week. I hope that message resonated. And yeah, if you want to add your thoughts or reflections or comments, I'd love to hear them as well. Okay, everybody, have a great week. I will see you again next week. Bye-bye.